Hello, people of Calvary. Welcome to another Open the Book devotional. Today I want to take you to the Old Testament, 1 Samuel chapter 14, and read one of the most incredible and unusual stories that you'll ever find in the Old Testament. Let me set it up a little bit for you. In this story, the Philistine army is coming against Israel to defeat Israel, and they have all the advantage. They are camped on the high ground. They have more people, chariots, and they also have more weapons, as they controlled all the silver and metal of those days. And Israel only had two swords and spears. One was King Saul had one, and his son Jonathan had one. Otherwise, the small Israelite army only had maybe wood or something that was not metal, not wood, not swords or spears to fight with. So they were outmanned, outmaneuvered, and out-equipped. And so the Philistine army is ready to fight. But meanwhile, the king of Israel, who was supposed to lead the way, supposed to, be the leader in the fight, is camped underneath a tree in the shade, just kind of biding his time. Not really sure what to do or how to be able to come against this, fight against this Philistine army. So his son Jonathan decides he's going to take the fight to the Philistines. So he and his armor bearer go out, and they find an outpost where there were some Philistine soldiers, and they decided that they were going to come against and take the fight to this outpost. So what they did was they devised a plan, probably the worst military plan you could ever think of. Instead of surprising the Philistines, they were going to just let themselves be seen in plain sight. And so as the Philistine army was up high on a hill where there was a cliff, and Jonathan and his armor bearer come right out in plain sight. And their plan was that if the Philistines said from up above, said, "Hey, stay there, we're going to kill you," that they would take that as from the Lord and not go any further. But if the Philistines up there, high up on the pass, said, "Come on up and fight us, we'll show you a lesson," then they would take that as from the Lord, that it was their time to go up and fight. And that's exactly what happened. It was when they were seen by the Philistine army, they made fun. They insulted them and said, "Oh, look at the Israels. They're coming out of their holes in the ground. I guess they want to fight now. So come on up and we'll teach you a lesson. We'll kill you." So Jonathan heard that, and he and his armor bearer climbed up, hand over fist, up this side of this mountain, up the side of this pass. And when they got to the top, right away they started to engage the soldiers of the Philistine army. And the Bible says that they killed 20 men very, very quickly. And when they did that, what happened was the Philistine army started to run. They started to chicken out. And instead of standing up and fighting against just two men, Jonathan and his armor bearer, they ran away. And then it says that the Lord sent an earthquake, and panic set in for the whole Philistine army, not just those in the outposts, but it spread to the whole army. And so even though the king of Israel was camped underneath a shade tree and hadn't lifted a sword, when his son went up to this outpost, God sent panic to the Philistine army, and they all ran away. And God had a great victory that day, where he saved the nation of Israel from the enemies, the Philistines. So, is God a God of peace, or is he a God of panic? Well, in this case, he was a God of panic who sent panic onto the enemies. And that's what God does. He doesn't send panic onto his people. He is rather a God of peace to his people. Now, how do I know that? Well, in the New Testament, in Matthew chapter 8, it says that when his disciples were in a boat and a storm came up in this boat, they were afraid of drowning. And yet what Jesus did was he commanded the wind and the waves to stop and to be calm. And the wind and the waves obeyed him. And then in John chapter 14, here's what Jesus said. He says, "I am leaving you a gift, peace of mind and heart. And the peace I give isn't like the peace the world gives. So don't be troubled or afraid." So God doesn't send panic to his children. to the people who are part of his family. He only sends panic to his enemies. He sends peace to his children, to the people in his family. And so I know there's a lot going on in our world today. There's a lot going on in our country and in our county and in our city regarding the whole COVID-19, the closures and the new cases and the reports of all the deaths and so forth. But let's take God at his word. Let's take Jesus at his word, where he says, peace I leave with you. Not as the world gives, not a peace that's based on circumstances, but peace that is sure. Peace that will be there in the midst of chaos. So realize, is God a God of peace, or is he a God of panic? He is a God of peace to those who know him. So I hope you will sense and experience the God of peace today and throughout this week. No matter what the news is saying, no matter what the circumstances are around you, that you will sense his peace. God bless you, and look forward to talking to you again soon.